Hello there and welcome back to the Natalie and
Dennis
Show
podcast.
Tokyo, Japan edition. Hey.
Tokyo, Japan edition. If you're checking the visuals, I'm going to overlay a quick recording that I got right before we started of the city of Tokyo.
It is so beautiful here, you guys. Not only is it so clean and amazing, but I really don't feel like there's another place in the world like this.
This is episode 2 of our Japan special. Episode 1, we talked a lot about tips for new people coming to Japan for the first time. And since then, we've been to Kyoto. We came back. We've been here for another week. And we're going to be here in Tokyo for 2 more days.
I'm so sad.
2 more days.
We're going to get the post-travel blues.
And then back to America.
Oh my God. Let's talk about America for a second.
Free and the brave.
Let's talk about the big differences we've noticed here. There's been so many. But for me mainly, I just feel so safe in Japan. And I'm not the only one to feel this way. It seems like even parents feel very safe here in the sense of, I don't know if you guys have seen this on the internet, but literally little kids like 5 years old walk to school alone. It's the cutest thing. They have on these little yellow hats and these big backpacks. And they are going into the stations, like, you know.
They explore.
And it's crazy because when in America would you feel safe letting your little 5-year-old kid do that?
I mean, nowadays people are uncomfortable even letting them go to like the local park within the community. Here, like they're in the city traveling. They have like these very specific leather backpacks that little kids wear whenever they go like on these explorations.
And little hats. They're the cutest thing.
And then on Netflix, there's a whole show dedicated to kids going to the market, buying stuff for their parents. And they have little flags that like they'll carry.
It's so cute.
It reminds me of the little boy from Up a little bit.
It does. Yeah. And I thought that was not real until we saw a little, I would say he was like 4 or 5. So adorable. Just like walking. I wanted to take a picture. I was like, let me not be rude. And, you know, but I was like, I was so impressed by that. And just, I think the level of how everybody's kind of like minding their own business, but also like taking care of the city. You don't see trash. The subways are the most clean I've ever seen. It's such a clean city.
You know, the sad thing about America, in my opinion, is that we take for granted, the things that we have at our disposal for our own use. And usually it's like, oh, there's a new park that came out. And then a little while later, it's trashed, graffiti, things are broken, the swings are broken. Everything needs to be made to like prevent breaking, right? And that's why some of these parks look so ugly, because everything needs to be made to be durable, to resist a lot of people just using them, right? Whereas here, like the subway is clean. Everybody has an agreement that everybody's using it. And so no one wants to trash it.
And
like,
there's so many more people here. Like I wish I could pull up the stat, but it's like
it's
4
packed.
times. Like it's just so much more. This whole city is compared to
the state of Wyoming in terms of size, Japan.
Yeah.
And then it had like 4 or 5 times more
people
population.
In it. Yeah. And it's so clean and just so beautiful. I honestly, this is the place for an introvert. I got to tell you this, okay? Tell me how we went to a little ramen shop.
It's called Ichiran.
Located in...
There's many because it's actually a franchise.
It's a franchise. Really recommend it. So you're basically greeted by a screen. You press English if you don't know Japanese. Go ahead. Did you want to say something?
No. I'm waiting for you to explain.
And then it's just like, you're in line. Then an actual human being is like, hey, come on this way, right? And then it's literally rooms of just little cubicles.
It's
little stalls. And I hope you put some footage over this, please. But basically, you don't even see the waiter. You just see their hands. They open up these little blinds and they take your little slip and that's it. It's like, here's what you ordered. Here's the ramen. Through a little curtain. Yeah. And then you go back to your little oasis. I felt so safe there. It was so quiet. And what I mean by safe is like, I'm somebody that I don't like loud noise. I also don't love like bright lights, and there's a lot of things that honestly bother me, but I felt so just like, oh, like I could just imagine myself going there and after like work or whatever and just feeling so relieved and relaxed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I tried to explain to my mom what eating at that place felt like. And I told her that it was like confessing at church to a father, because you get placed inside of like this wooden box where you confess through like this like screen. Right. And then like you don't interact. You can't see him. He can't see you. He doesn't even know who you are sometimes. Right. And so that kind of wood from those kinds of things is the same type of wood that's used inside of this restaurant. It's like a very thick wood designed to create privacy.
Yes. And that's what it feels like. It's like quiet. You're eating your little ramen. You're slurping. You don't know who's next to you. It doesn't really matter. It's just so awesome. So great. So great. And I mean, aside from just the level of cleanliness here, I would say let's talk about the bidets. It's life-changing.
In the previous podcast, we mentioned how the bidet really changed our lives. And then we're 3 weeks deep into this vacation, and I would say the bidet is still one of the highlights.
More for you, but for me, like every time I sit on it, it's warm, and I'm like, wow, how nice would this be whenever I'm menstruating? Like that must be so great, and just feeling so clean. We're even considering really just investing in
a bidet now.
In a bidet, because it's changed our life that way.
So some stuff that has changed from the previous episode to now was that we went to Kyoto. And so we took the bullet train. We learned some lessons about the bullet train.
We want to talk about those lessons.
So the bullet train is a way of kind of getting around Japan without having to pay for like a flight, right? It's mainly used for long distance travel between larger cities. Obviously it stops in cities in between, but it's mainly large cities. So we went from Tokyo to Kyoto in the train. It's not like the subways. It's an actual bullet train.
The transportation here is unmatched. Like the way the subways, the trains, everything is so incredible.
It's perfect.
Perfect. You can get anywhere.
Yes. So the way that we went about it the first time, and then I ended up learning for the second time, was we went to the station, purchased the tickets there. I got reserved seating plus like an upgrade into like what's called the green cart. And so that's like what it would be like the equivalent of first class on a plane, but on a train. And the ticket prices were $130 each, which I was shocked. I was like, wow, that's so expensive.
It was pretty expensive. Yes. But you should mention how long the flight, or not the flight.
The train ride.
It
feels like a flight.
Yeah, the train ride. Also, can I just pause you for a second?
Yeah.
If you are watching the visuals on YouTube, you'll notice that we're extremely dark. I just feel like it's a vibe.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like, look at the city. You know, it's not really about us. Just relax, hear our voice. Like, I feel like this kind of sums up a little bit of Japan. A little bit, which is just everything is so calm. People are so incredible. But anyways, going back to the bullet train. Yeah. So you did look at the cost and you're like, holy cow, can you convert this right now? And I was like, how much was it? 140?
It was 35,000 yen, which ended up being like $220 for both. Whatever. So our experience inside of the first class train cart was great.
So comfortable.
It was so comfortable. I really thought it was worth it. But on the way back,
let's explain how comfortable seats. It was, because
okay, let's go back to the comfort.
Yeah. So I mean, pretty much like super clean. It's 2 people. So basically, side. 2 people per side. You get these really cool leg stretching things.
It's like this little bench thing that you can place your feet on, right? So that's comfortable.
You get to really like go all the way back. You know,
the amount you can recline your chair is actually surprising. It's about 3 times, in my opinion, 2 to 3 times more than a plane. So you can really recline that thing.
If you need to hang your suit, which a lot of businessmen do, there's a little thing to hang it. There's great air conditioning.
Yes.
So now we go to the other experience, because on our way back, we're like, let's just not get that. Let's just see what the other one is like.
So on our way back, we ended up getting normal seats, non-reservation.
Still good incline, like in terms of the back.
Yes.
Recline.
So before that, very, very quick tip, right? There's 2 trains and they both have names. This is something that I haven't even told you, but I learned on the way there. So there's 2 trains. Both of them have names. They're both different trains. So you can have a different experience on either train.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. The first train, the one that we went on, was named like Naninja or something like that. The first 5 carts are all reserved, and the back 3 carts are non-reserved. So we were in a hurry. Remember, we jumped into one of the reserve carts, and as the train was moving,
we went to the back.
We kept pushing through the carts until we got to the back, and then we sat, right? And so the back 3 carts are all non-reserved, and we sat separately from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that particular cart, non-reserved, non-first class style, it's 3 per side. So you're sharing with more people. And the chairs are more plain type chairs, very thin, very not very comfortable.
Well, it was so much so that when we arrived on that second station, I remember I was like, oh my God, maybe we should have paid, because it's like a 2.5 hour.
It's a 2.5 hour ride.
And girl, I felt like I had just been on a plane and I was tired, and I just felt like not renewed. Whereas for the first one, I was like, this is so easy. This is great. And it's crazy how those small accommodations really make your experience, make you feel just like more in it, you know?
Yes.
They drain you less.
So the first experience, the reserve seating was $130 per person. And then the second time that we went, where we wanted to try the non-reserved, it was $90 per person. So honestly, the difference in pricing is $40.
All right, let's talk about nightlife here, which is so different. You know, they say that New York is the city that never sleeps.
I would say Tokyo's the same.
Tokyo, I think, is more, because I don't know if you guys have watched like Spirited Away, but there's a part where she's like looking out and she doesn't see anything. And then all of a sudden she sees all these ghosts, and like the night becomes so... This dead town becomes alive. And I feel like it's kind of like this at night, where all of a sudden it's 8 p.m. You see all of the businessmen, everybody getting out of work, going into bars, restaurants. They're so full. And it's just, it's like a whole new life, a whole new city, a whole new vibe.
If you go out during the day and then go out at night, it's a completely different experience. Not only because all of the signs are now illuminated and it feels like a city, not that it doesn't feel like a city in the morning, but just the type of people, right? And like you said, it's all these business people who are overworked, who come out of their job finally, all these big ass buildings that are behind us, and just go crazy. Like they have their moment of liberty, and like they just want to go and have fun, right? So, beer is surprisingly very popular here.
Beer is very popular
in Japan.
here.
It's a big cultural thing,
and it's funny because we went to a ramen place, and here it's very normal for you to like really slurp your food. Yes. That was something Dennis was a little bit like afraid of, because he really hates slurping sounds. Yeah. It's so annoying, you guys, because every time even I'm drinking my tea, he's like, can you not slurp? Anyways, so here people slurp, and
loudly.
Very loud. So we were at this ramen place, and after we left, you were like, you know what? I think I've changed my mind about the whole slurping thing. You know, the guy next to me, he was drinking his beer. He just had come back from a long day of work. Let that man slurp. If he wants to slurp, let him slurp. Let him slurp. Because I think what we've also seen is just how people work till so late here, and yeah, it's you see differences here a lot.
They live at night, and I don't think that they live for very long. I think the nightlife here lasts about 2 to 3 hours, because everybody who's in business suits has to go back to work the next day. So I have heard
some places are open till like 5.
So the thing about the 5 thing, I'll tell you about the 5 thing, and that's obviously not going to be for the business people. That's like the nightlife kind of club stuff that we are not normally a part of. Is the train system stops at 11 and it picks up back at 5. So if you're out and about at 11 or past 11, you have to kind of party hard till 5 to be able to find a train back to your place.
I kind of want to experience nightlife, but I won't want to. I don't want to be out till 5. I want to
be out till 5 a.m.
Yeah. So I don't drink beer, but I'm gonna have a beer here because it looks good. Can we talk about the commercials and television here?
They market it really well, and then one thing that is different from here in the U.S. is that they can actually drink the beer in the commercial. And you can publicly drink out at any time, anywhere.
Is it just America that you can't do that, or can you do that in other parts?
There's many places that you can't do that.
Okay, yeah. Just seeing it on the commercials, like the way they're like, and like drinking that foamy beer.
Because like if you really think about it, if you're in Colombia, like let's say you're in Envigado, you're not going to see somebody sitting in the park drinking beer. Like there's restaurants around the park.
That's true. And
like you can imagine them sitting there, and like maybe even in the little halls where people walk around, like there's people drinking beer there. But I don't see someone just in a random bench drinking a beer. Like,
yep.
That happens here.
That is very different here. And I'm going to have a beer. Bidu. And I feel like we've been influenced because every night we watch television here.
Yes.
And you guys, like the television here is so fun.
It's crazy.
And animated and just like crazy in the sense of there's so many words all over the place. There's so much happening. You know, like those TikToks where they show you like, I don't know, a Candy Crush game on the side. And then on the right side, it's like they're teaching you something else. It's kind of like that in the way that it's so overstimulating to capture your attention. You almost can't look away.
Yeah.
So we've been influenced. Many times. So we've been obviously laying in bed every night watching. And so one time we watched this train station sushi. Is that what you'd call it?
It was like a conveyor belt sushi place. It was called Kura.
Very good.
And I was like, oh, that's something exactly kind of like what I wanted. Let's look it up.
And so we did.
Good ratings, and we went. And it was an awesome place.
And so we did. And I feel like that to me was like, wow, that's kind of wild that we were influenced from television, which I feel like I haven't been in a long time in America.
Yes.
2, you saw this really cool commercial Panasonic shaver.
Oh man, guys, there's this awesome bomb ass shaver that I've wanted.
So basically men shave here.
A lot.
Like you barely see a guy with like a beard, and he was influenced.
Yes.
Which is wild because Dennis recently hasn't been shaving as much. If you even saw on our Instagram, like he had the Nacho Libre.
I've been having a beard for a while, mustache, all sorts of facial hair.
But again, when we went to Don Quixote, which is like this big store full of snacks and souvenirs and fun stuff.
Yeah.
We looked for that Panasonic thing that we had just watched off television. So I'm like, dang, television here is very powerful in that way.
Bro, that Panasonic shaver is $250.
Expensive. Yeah. Yeah. But it's an investment.
Yeah. The power of advertising here is intense. There's another channel that we watch that basically just sells things.
That's crazy, right?
The majority of it is either for overweight individuals or for very old people who are in some sort of pain, who need some sort of relief, whether it be through working out or creams, medications, all sorts of stuff,
or beauty.
But yeah, a lot of the ads are targeted towards beauty, cosmetics, health, and pain.
So let's talk about sizing here because Dennis was like, Natalie, don't worry. Like we're going to go shopping a lot. So basically I brought my suitcase empty and I only brought 3 outfits, literally. Okay. Nothing fits me here.
So did I, by the way. I didn't bring a lot.
Everything is tiny. It's a very, like you go into stores and they'll be like 1 size only. Okay. So I would say if you're a girl in America who's a medium to large, you got to bring your clothes because it's going to be very, very hard for you to find clothes here. At least that's been my experience. And I actually was looking this up and it is many other people's experience as well. So I went to Uniqlo, which we have a Uniqlo in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
And I purchased underwear there. I'm always a large. Girl, I put those underwear on. They are tight. They are so tight. They're much smaller.
Yep.
So clothing here is also just smaller. And that's been a little bit of a culture shock for me. The clothing, but just like the sizing. Like, I mean, growing up, I've always seen like Asians are usually very thin and, all that.
Dainty.
Yeah. But like here, I was watching this YouTube channel, Takashi in Japan, or I think it's like that. Sorry if I butchered it. But he was talking about beauty standards and asking women from 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself? And a lot of the girls were quite thin, in my opinion. And they felt overweight.
Whoa. Okay.
They were like, I'm overweight.
That's interesting.
And I feel so big here. Like I do.
You got called out at Converse.
I got called out?
Yeah. I thought that was kind of wrong what the lady did at the store.
Well, no, I think she just wanted me to make sure that I knew that they only carried one size.
Yeah, we were just browsing and the lady comes up and it's like, oh, just so you know, this is only one size. This is one size.
But that's happened in a lot of places.
Ugh.
But I don't really see it like that. It did make me feel a little bit bad. And I was like, oh my, like, yeah, I feel so big here. It's pretty wild. And I also feel like, you know, it's been a very interesting experience. Like, beauty standards are such a thing, but I've always only visited like America.
Mm-hmm.
Well, America, and I've been to Europe, which is also a little different beauty standards, but I've never felt like alienated in the way where I'm like, oh, I'm like darker skinned here, you know? And I find that a lot of women that walk around with like the umbrellas, I don't feel like they look at me, but I do almost wonder like if they're thinking or assuming, dang, that's really bad for her skin. She should probably
use an umbrella too,
or use these bucket hats, or like everybody's so
conscious.
I don't. Yeah, maybe conscious.
I
don't know because I don't really. Yeah, but they're very like they just don't want to tan. They don't want sun damage, and so I have felt like I don't know, just like very different in that way. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. Yeah.
What are some things that are different from America and here? And for one is my number one is safety, which is the same for you, right? We talked about how we feel very safe and like there's kids walking around by themselves. The train system is very safe. What are other things? Oh, well, the sizing. Mm-hmm. That's a massive difference too.
Yeah. Well, I've also been very surprised at how many people speak English here. Like I really did think we were going to have a harder time navigating, and Google Translate has been really great. But I've noticed like a type of arrogance when it comes to people who are foreigners coming here and being like, wait, why don't you understand what I'm saying? Like there was this lady that was upset at the Japanese man, for not understanding what she was saying. But girl, you're in Japan.
Yeah.
And then he spoke English to her. And I just felt like that was such a, like, why are we like that? You know, in a sense, that's been a difference.
I think food quality is also very different. Even in fast food places, the food quality, I think, is better here. Mm-hmm. Tell me how we went to Taco Bell yesterday. I love going to fast food places that we have in both and comparing. And my God, those tacos were thick. Those were some thick, soft tacos.
Can you do me a favor? And I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
But this almost fell. And I don't know if it showed something.
Okay. You want me to restart that? Or
I just want to make sure you look into that. I can pause
everything. I can't really pause it.
I just want to make sure you look at it and don't forget.
I won't forget. I won't forget.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Another big change between America and here is just fast food overall quality. I've never gone into a place here and felt like the sense of like ickiness or like, I shouldn't be eating that. Like everything feels top notch.
So we went to Taco Bell and the meat was really thick and just like more. They gave us more. The overall taco was
better.
But I mean, overall, I think you could go anywhere. Maybe they could give you less, but I thought that was very interesting. My back is hurting.
I disagree. I think that just the standard of quality in the fast food places here is higher.
Yeah.
What about like the food around, not fast food? How about like normal food that we get ramen? Like what do the portions feel like?
They feel good and they feel cheap. When you take a look at like the ramens that we've been eating, the big ones, and I mean, it feels like a great meal. And you said it's like what, $5, $6?
It's like $6 per ramen.
$6, yeah.
We haven't seen any of the ramune.
No, I haven't seen any ramen, and I'm like, what?
Is that like a fake thing that we in America believe that people here in Japan drink?
I never see it.
It's not real.
No, but you know what is really good here? Carbonated drinks. I love them. Like the yuzu, the lemon sodas.
Can you explain to them what yuzu is?
So based off of my research, yuzu is basically like an orange, but it tastes like a lemon.
Wow.
And it's so good. And they have it in a bunch of different drinks and hot teas. Oh, I really, really recommend it.
I know in the last episode we talked a lot about the fruit and the quality of the fruit, but I just want to pinpoint that again. The fruit here is good. And the fruit that is used inside of food, like a parfait or ice cream, which is normally fruit that's not of high quality compared to the fruit that like is sold as the whole fruit, is as good as the whole fruit. Like they I think, what do they do with bad fruit? Do they just not grow bad fruit, or do they toss it?
I don't know.
I haven't seen bad fruit.
No, I haven't seen bad fruit. We had, like what you were saying, a black tea parfait, which I've never even, it's so amazing. Like all the different recipes here, and it had mango on top. And like, that was such a great mango. I don't think I've even had a mango like that anywhere else. And I'm like, for a dessert, that's wild. Usually they would, sauce it up with like the sugars and stuff like that. And that's another thing I've noticed, even when it comes to desserts, the desserts are not as sweet. It doesn't take away. So for example, there's matcha parfaits, which are, matcha ice cream with red beans, little like sauces. Oh, it's so good. And like little jellies and tapioca and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the matcha tastes like really great matcha, not like sugary matcha ice cream. So that's been very impressive. I think the cuisine here is really great. But one thing we can't get used to, unfortunately, is the sushi.
The sushi tastes so different. And I think you're the one that's a little bit more particular about it.
No, here's the thing.
I'm very I like the sushi here.
I like the sushi here too, but it takes me a little bit because I feel that some sushi is hard to chew. Whereas in America, I feel like we get really fatty sushi. So it's like, oh, this tastes like butter, and it just like, it goes down. I
kind of disagree with that.
But here,
it's the quality.
Here, I'm not saying it's worse. I'm just saying
it's better quality here. It
probably is
and
better.
So that's why over there it's so soft.
No, I get that. Yeah, but I'm saying I'm not used to that texture. And it just like, it takes me a minute to be like, why am I having to chew on this?
Okay.
Raw fish.
Guys, picture a California roll. Okay. That style of sushi, that's like a roll and then it has like stuff inside and then it's like very packed, is not normal here. That kind of sushi, like a roll, isn't popular here. Especially the ones with like a lot of sauces.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen it anywhere.
A roll and then like topping on top. Like, no, that's not the type of sushi of here. Like this is nigiri. This is like rice and then a piece of fish on top, and that's it.
Yes, I want to talk about. May I switch topics
Go ahead.
Romance?
You may. That's an interesting topic.
To romance, it's very interesting because, growing up like Colombian American, there's a lot of affection and it's like very common to like hold hands, and just you see a lot of that in Colombia. Yeah. When we went to Spain, man, did we really see it. When we were, was it Ibiza or was it Spain? I can't remember.
No, it was in Madrid.
Madrid. Just like people making out, straight up making out on
against
the streets.
The walls.
Yeah. We saw this one girl push this man against the wall and just start making out. And we were like, what? Like even that for me was too much. But here in Japan, we are the only ones holding hands. And I haven't seen any type of public affection in the sense of I haven't seen one couple kiss. I haven't seen I've seen a few people hold hands, but like younger kids, and that's been really eye-opening for me. I've
seen a couple older ladies holding their husbands, but it's like that hand gancho kind of hold, and it's not common. It's very like separate.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are Japanese and you can kind of correct us on this, I was looking up how do I write I love Japan? How do I write that for an Instagram caption? And so within it, people were showing this is how you write it, but it's not really utilized like that. Like that word love in that way doesn't really exist. You would say, I like Japan.
I'm fond. I'm fond of Japan.
And I think that kind of shows a lot as well about like Colombians, for example. I know this was about America, but like, okay, the trains here are very, very, very quiet. Very quiet. Everybody's on their phone.
Yes.
Everybody's on their phone.
Yep.
I love that. personally. Not the phone part.
I don't go on my phone on the train. I like observing.
Me too. Because it's just so different. I like the quietness and how like people are reserved in the way that, hey, if I'm wearing a backpack, let me put it to the front. Let me not be an inconvenience to you. But like in Colombia, like people say hi. People, you know, they're very like warm and welcoming. Not saying that Japanese are not. I don't want to give that wrong impression. Yeah. But I've just noticed that. And Dennis and I, we actually had the opportunity to go to a church here. It's called Awakening Asia. And it was probably Dennis's worst nightmare because I came across this man's testimony, the pastor, on YouTube. I thought it was very amazing. Yeah. So I really wanted to try out a church here. And so Dennis was like, oh, if you look on the page, it's like a really small room. Like, I don't want to feel like singled out. I don't want them to ask me questions, blah, blah, blah.
Because I accompany Natalie to these things, and it's rare the occasion that I do. But I don't want to just blend into the wall. I'm just there to like accompany her because I'm like, okay, I'm not Christian, for example. So I'm not just going to drop you off and then leave. Like, I feel the obligation to stay, make sure like everything's okay.
But let's be honest, you were kind of like questioning that. You were nervous. Like, maybe, yeah. So Dennis was nervous. So basically we ended up going, and guess what, you guys? Half of the church was sick. So it was literally
like 6 of us. In this fucking drum circle talking about godly shit. And I'm just there like, oh no, like what is going on?
But wait. So yeah, there was like a worship time, which was really beautiful. And I kind of felt a little like self-conscious because I'm always kind of concerned for you. And I'm like, is he doing okay? Is he feeling okay? But then there was a moment where I was like, are you kidding me? I'm in Japan in a church and I'm singing here in Japanese. It was such a moment for me. I got so emotional and I was like, it's not about him. This is about me and like my relationship with God. I didn't want to
make it about me though.
No, it wasn't about you. You never try to make it about me at all. Ever. However, I can't help it. It's kind of like when I mentioned this to you, whenever we go to like all of the shopping malls and you're kind of like, are you okay? Are you bored? And I'm like, it's okay.
Guys, fashion here. Okay, for like, I don't think we talked about fashion in the other episode. I'll touch on it very quickly, but like, it's next level, especially if you're like Shibuya, and you will always feel underdressed, especially as a tourist, because you can't bring your whole wardrobe. I didn't bring my highest quality clothing. Like, if I want to like show out, I can show out, but I'm in like tourist clothing and shopping in like this like super nice. Oh, by the way, vintage bag shopping here. Hi. If you want bags, if you love purses, if you love that kind of stuff, especially stuff that's like not sold anymore, you can come here and find stuff for reasonable prices. And like, it's all real. Like, they don't sell fake stuff here. None of it is fake. It's wild. All right, the fashion scene's crazy, but like, okay.
No, and I wanted to add with that, like, we've walked about 25,000 steps every day, but since we found the subway system and really understood it, we walk around like 15, 20 sometimes. It's very tiring.
The buses, we went on a bus for the first time in Kyoto. We haven't talked about Kyoto at all. So I actually want to talk about Kyoto now. We talked about the bullet train. We finally made it Kyoto. And just Kyoto is very different from Tokyo in the sense that it is very touristic. There is a lot of Americans, a lot of European people from all over the place packed into a city, which is also trying to be very like there's a lot of shrines. It's trying to show the culture of Tokyo. What did you think of Kyoto? I thought Kyoto was very pretty.
You know, I think that it shocked me a little bit in terms of how much tourism there was there. I tend to stay away from areas like that just because I feel that you're not really getting the reality of the place.
The full impact.
Yeah. And because we live in Orlando, Florida, where there's so much tourism, like I get that in the sense of whenever people are like, let's go to downtown Disney, you know, it's all tourists. Like if you really want to know what Florida is, or like you got to go to the real spots, the places that people really attend. So I personally, Kyoto, I felt as though it was just too hectic for my liking, and I enjoyed Tokyo more, which is pretty surprising because I've heard that Kyoto is more like culture. It's more history. But I just felt that maybe we didn't navigate it properly, or we just went around where everybody was, and it was very, very hot. Like, I think that's one thing.
I was going to say that. So the heat really affected our plans in Kyoto. Not just that, but Natalie got this gnarly neck pain. That's just like, it really took
honestly,
you out.
Honestly, still like, oh my God. I'm not looking forward to the flight back. Like, that flight messed me up, you guys. Like, I came like this, right? I'm holding my hand out like this, right? Like a palm. After the flight, I was like this, like my fist is closed. And currently I'm kind of a little open like this, but I just feel like that flight messed me up. I'm scared. So yeah, my neck pain. I can't go past this.
Our first week in Tokyo was raining every day, which was a vibe. I actually liked it. I thought it was totally
so
cool.
Nice.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
And then Kyoto was just absolutely hot. The train system's not as like rigorous as here. Like, it's not, so you got to take the bus sometimes. We had a very nice experience at the aquarium.
Overall, everything's been great.
It's just Kyoto and Tokyo are different. I kind of wish I would have picked Osaka instead of Kyoto. So we would have had the experience of two rival cities.
Next time,
but next time
sure.
we'll do Tokyo, Osaka. We'll do both again. But I would recommend Kyoto for people if you were to come.
Oh no, for sure.
You got to do Kyoto one time.
Yeah, no, and I even think that we should retry Kyoto, but go to like more of like the countryside.
There was one thing that I wanted to do that was up in the mountains where you go in like this. In Spanish, the word is telesférico. I don't know how to say it in English. I actually did
see that after, and that looked kind of interesting. I know.
And a lot of people were like, oh, you got to go backpacking and hiking up in like the fucking mountains. Like, you got to go up into the mountains because Kyoto's known for the mountains. Yeah. But we didn't do any of that. We stayed down below.
That's probably what it was.
We went to the very, very famous thing where there's like these red gates that you walk through. Mm-hmm. If you want to see what they look like, you can just, I think you posted on Instagram. Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, we did all the tourist stuff like in Kyoto. Yeah.
But overall, like, it's very tiring to travel
within a vacation.
Yeah. And I think that's something not a lot of people even talk about or remember. It's almost like you forget. It's like I've heard women who give birth, like, it's so painful, but then they just forget. And it's part of like our biology and I truly forget how tiring it is to travel, where I'm like, girl, I think I'm going to go back home and I'm going to need like 3 days. Just like in bed, because we've walked so much. It's too much on the body. I feel not okay right now.
Overall, Japanese experience has been,
I love it here,
fantastic. It's been safe, cheap. When it comes to eating, the fashion is amazing, expensive, yet cool. Both Kyoto and Tokyo have been really great. Traveling, getting around within the cities is amazing once you get the hang of it.
The people are very nice, very helpful. No English. I mean, this is a great place to travel to. It's a must. It really is a must.
I would say if you're a novice traveler, this is a good beginning to like an Asia experience because it's simple.
But I would also say it will make you feel so sad to know that no other part of the world is like this. Yep. Like, I'm so sad to leave.
Sometimes we even compare Colombia and Japan and like the way that they are.
They're very different.
And yet they're very similar. I tell my dad on phone calls when I call home, I tell him that I feel he would really enjoy this. It's like Colombia without the danger of getting robbed, in my opinion. Because I do feel that in Colombia, like, oh, there's like danger. There's places you can't be. There's things that you can't do. And then here it's like, oh, you can pretty much kind of go anywhere.
But it's also the same. There's a lot of ways you have to be. Things you can't do.
Cultural changes.
Rules.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that it's also very like similar in that way.
Yes. All right. So that's it for episode 2 of our Japan special. Thank you for tuning in. Next time,
we'll be back home with Jupiter.
We'll be back home with Jupiter in the podcast room again from the good old US of A. Hooray. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure to rate us. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment and let us know what you want to hear us talk about next time. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.